Identify the correct statement regarding A and B blocks in the following flowchart. So if you see the flowchart here, there will be, if you see the small taste, sound, sight, actually it should be smell here. So smell, taste, sound, sight, that will be increasing the higher centers, that will be stimulating the higher centers, and that will be leading to the salivatory nucleus of medulla, where there will be stimulation, and through the parasympathetic supply there will be stimulation of the otic ganglion, and there will be relay in the submandibular ganglion, and that would lead to the secretion from parotid gland and submandibular gland. So yes, we'll be coming to the parasympathetic control of the salivary gland first. Before that, I just should give you some brief information about the salivary gland. So salivary glands are going to secrete saliva, of course, and it is around 1.5 liter per day. Secretion is 1.5 liter per day. pH is around 7, and that is going to be hypotonic to plasma. So sometimes question is asked, the saliva is hypotonic to plasma. Now let's see the sources. So salivary gland, that will be having major glands will be there, and there will be minor glands. Okay, so there are a lot of minor glands. One of the very famous example is your von Ebner's gland. Then coming to the major, there are three pairs of the major salivary gland. One is your parotid gland, that contributes to the 20% of the total saliva. Then you have your submandibular gland. Now the submandibular gland is the major source of the saliva, and this contributes for around 70% of the total saliva. And then you have the small gland, that is sublingual gland, and that is going to contribute 10% of the saliva. Okay, that is something which we have to remember. Now if we just talk about the regulation of the salivary gland, so the regulation of salivary gland is generally done by autonomic nervous system. So autonomic nervous system, there are two branches. One is parasympathetic nervous system and another is sympathetic nervous system. So if we talk about the parasympathetic nervous system, that will lead to release of more and more watery saliva. So that will lead to release of the saliva that is going to be thin and watery saliva. Okay, sympathetic nervous system generally controls, actually it inhibits the salivary secretion, but yes, it is responsible for release of thick saliva. So that is an important thing which we can remember here. Thick saliva is released under the control of sympathetic nervous system. So basically your parasympathetic nervous system is going to release the saliva from these particular glands, right? Now I'll just quickly tell you the innervation of the various glands here, how they generally work. So if I just write here, there will be cranial nerve 9. Now so this is glossopharyngeal nerve. And this glossopharyngeal nerve relays into the otic ganglion. Then there will be fibers from the otic ganglions that will be moving through the auriculotemporal nerve, and that will be going to the parotid glands. Okay, so this is one supply, and these will be coming from the salivatory nucleus for sure. Then we have another, that is cranial nerve 7, that is your facial nerve, right? Cranial nerve 7, that is your facial nerve, that will be going and relaying in the submandibular gland, and after the submandibular ganglion, and after the submandibular ganglion, the postganglionic fibers will be going to submandibular gland as well as the sublingual gland. So this is the whole thing which we require to solve this particular question. So if we come to this question, we'll be seeing parasympathetic nerve supply is there, that will be going to the otic ganglion, and that will be going to the submandibular ganglion. So through the otic ganglion, it will be going through the cranial nerve 9, and to the submandibular ganglion it will be going through the cranial nerve 7. Now that will be leading to the parotid gland secretion, and it will be increasing the thin and watery secretion of the acinar, or that will be called the acinar secretion. Same way submandibular gland will be also stimulated, and they will be further increasing the thin and watery secretion, and that will be coming from the acinine of the submandibular gland. So both will be increased and the acinar secretion will be increased. So answer is going to be third. Both A and B show increased acinar secretion. So answer is going to be third.